So in this little video I'm going to take you step by step through each round for making your squares for your Mary's cushion. So I'm going to begin in the centre with the base ring. So we begin by making a slip knot. I do this by laying the tail on the table and then just make a loop. And from the back I then push through the yarn from the working ball and then I pull through, holding on to those two threads so that it doesn't become too long, and there's your slip knot ready to go. So you join that to your hook and now we're ready to begin the pattern. So it starts with a base ring. So I'm going to make a base ring of 4 chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I'm counting the chain, I don't count the actual chain on the hook itself, but work your way backwards. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and also remembering not to count the very knot at the beginning, which was your slip knot. Now I need to join that chain to make a ring. So I'm going to go back into the very first one and make sure it's the right way facing up. And I can do that by, check that by just feeling it, and you can see it's very smooth and you can clearly see those V's. If I turn it over to the wrong side, it's very knobbly and you can't see the individual stitches. So I'm going into the very first V and I'm just going to join this with a slip stitch. So bring the yarn back up through that stitch and then through the loop on my hook, and there you'll see we've now created that ring and we're going to be working into that centre. So round 1 begins with chain 3. This gives us a little bit of height to begin the pattern, and we're counting that as our first treble stitch. So from now on I now need to work a further 11 trebles into that ring to create the round 1, which in total is going to be 12 trebles. So yarn on into that second ring, central ring, yarn on through 2, yarn on through 2. So there's my first treble made. Next one. And as I make them, I'm just going to pull them together so they cluster together. So we keep the ring empty for filling up with the next group of stitches. So yarn on again. Always into that center ring. The tail end I'm just moving across out of the way. Some people like to crochet over the tail end to lock it in, but I like to keep the tail end out so that I can use it for darning in at the end. So I'm just keep going into the center, yarn on, bring it to the top. We've got our 3 loops, yarn on through 2, yarn on through 2. And I'm just deliberately at the moment just showing you how sometimes they feel like they're all spreading apart. So all you do is just pull them around over that knot if it feels a bit clunky, and then you can see they're all coming together. And we're leaving that space on the ring to keep adding more treble stitches. So keep on working your way around. We're looking for 12 in total, including that 3 chain at the beginning. So we're coming around to the end, so I'm guessing I must be at the right number. Let's just check. So there's the 3 chain, that's 1 treble stitch. Then you can see if you just pull them gently apart, you can see them very clearly, the separate stitches you've made. So that's 1 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, just 1 more to go, and I've got just a bit of space there on my base ring. So there's my 12. So that's my completed stitches, and now I need to just close that round with a slip stitch, and it tells me to do that at the top of the chain 3 I made at the beginning of the round. So here's my chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I want to go into this top one, and you want to make sure you go through both loops, so you slightly turn it over so that you're going through 2 loops there. Whoops, it's a little bit stiff. Through your hook, then yarn on, bring it through. This is a slip stitch all the way through, so you have 1 loop left. So you've closed up that ring nicely. And then finally we just need to fasten that off. So I'm just going to pull out the loop a little bit bigger. Then I can snip off that end just pull that through to tighten it neatly, and then at the next stage will be to darn that end in. And so, whoops, that's base ring and round 1 finished.